The bonus round is back, and this month we're talking about the biggest event in gaming, E3. Industry veteran Adam Sessler, Pack Attack's Michael Pachter, Game Trailer's EIC Shane Satterfield, and the LA Times' Ben Fritz join us all month long to discuss what we can expect from E3 and beyond. This week we analyze the biggest third-party games at the show. Will games like BioShock Infinite steal the show again this year? What about Grand Theft Auto 5? Will Rockstar surprise everyone with an appearance? Find out what our incredible panel has to say in this brand new episode of the bonus round. Hey guys, it's the bonus round, and believe it or not, we are getting closer and closer to E3. The anticipation is growing, and this month in the bonus round, we're talking about all the big announcements at E3, and now it's time to move on to the big third-party companies. I'm here with Adam Sessler, Michael Pachter, Shane Satterfield, and Ben Fritz. So Ben, let's take a look at the landscape beyond the big three console companies. Which third party are you most interested to see what they have at E3, good or bad?
I'm interested in Electronic Arts for sure. You know, they're pushing Medal of Honor again. They're pushing really hard on it, and I'll really be curious to see whether or not they can come out with something that stands up to not just Call of Duty this year, but to Halo 4.
Even Battlefield. Battlefield was really
Battlefield did very well.
Yeah.
Battlefield did pretty well for them, and now Medal of Honor. If they have Battlefield, Medal of Honor kind of switching off every fall, and they can have that consistent level of success, at least as a strong number two, and positioned to jump in whenever Call of Duty, if and when it ever slips, that would be a much better place for them than they've been in a while. Also, if they show anything from Respawn this year, and nobody knows what they're going to, I don't think, but I'll be curious for sure.
Yeah, and EA seems to be trying to transition the company to much more about digital, and the idea of download games being broader than just the $60 boxed product, which seems to be a business that, Michael, you provide some insight on this. A lot of companies seem to almost want to get out of, right? Or they want to at least diversify beyond that, right?
Companies want to get out of digital or box products?
No, a box product.
Okay, of course. Yeah. No, I think
move away from the or at least
digital.
I think EA's done itself a disservice by talking about anything that you can receive without a disc as being digital, and they kind of mix up the message because they're actually big in the social games business. They're big in the mobile games business, and they're big with DLC, and now obviously they have a big MMO. But I don't think that everything that happens to be downloaded, like you as a consumer should be indifferent if you buy a game on package or buy it as a download. That's not, EA shouldn't be bragging because they induced you to download that game. That doesn't matter. It's the same game. Right. So where the market's migrating is towards social mobile, and EA's there. So I doubt that they're going to.
EA's there, but you look at all the other third parties.
They're not
really there. And E3 is a show about gaming, but it still seems to be a show about $60 box games.
I know that your core audience doesn't care about this, but we need Zynga to show up.
Right.
Yes. Zynga's got to be at E3. Rovio's got to be at E3. Apple's got to be at E3, and because it is all games, and it is about all games. I think the ESA would like these guys to be there.
Right.
And based on the RSVPs to my party, I can tell you, there are a handful of Zynga guys going, but most of them aren't. So it's not yet important enough for those guys to be at E3. I think that it's good for gaming if everybody's there, everybody's represented. You can see everything side by side.
Great. So, Adam, what about for you? We talked about EA. Are there any particular games that you're really excited to see? You've been an E3 judge over the years. What are you excited to see?
I think I've seen so many of these games. I'm trying to think of the ones that are new. Obviously, I haven't seen Halo 4. I would like to see more of that actually in action. I think I saw like a screenshot or something a couple months ago. More of that. I would like to see how some of these games are going to be received. Because it's Borderlands 2 at PAX was massive. That was the line had to be closed at 10:30 in the morning, and I've always been fond of that franchise. I'm like, hold on, I think Gearbox or 2K is going to have a monster hit on their hands that might really kind of change the makeup of what's going to happen at the end of the year. I'm trying to think of other games. I have not seen Last of Us, so and I think that's one. But
it's going to be big for Sony.
But
what about?
So you didn't ask me, but I think
I'm getting to.
I just think the new IP is what people really do care about.
Right.
So I think Respawn, Bungie. I think Patrice Désilé's project at THQ.
Do you think any of those will be at E3?
Well, remember, THQ doesn't have a booth. So if you're going to see Patrice's, it's going to be behind closed doors somewhere.
Party Pack.
but he's ready to show something. I mean, he certainly has a plan and a script, and so I think that will get gamers really excited. I think Respawn. That we're due.
Yeah,
we need to see it. Bungie, I think happens. I think Activision shows Bungie.
Well,
You think Bungie will be at E3?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I think they'll
Where
show
is
it.
that the booth?
I
Press
just
conference?
think maybe behind closed doors as well, but I think they're going to show something.
But I feel like E3 has, become more and more about the games for this holiday season, or it's less about, shocking new announcements, right? I mean, there's always one or two, but I mean, some of these games are not coming this year. Do you feel like they really want to be at E3?
I don't think any of those 3 games are coming this year, but I think
They might be
still,
there.
but they'll still get people excited about them. You got to build buzz. You really do have to build.
All right,
buzz.
so let's look at the game that had the most buzz last year, won Best of Show, BioShock Infinite. You guys excited?
It was perfect to show it there and come out a year and a half later.
And they showed very little since E3, a little bit since then, but they're coming back, I would assume, in a big way at E3. It's supposed to come out this October. Do you think that's a game that has potential to really cross over this year, Adam?
I think that's what it has to do this year.
Right.
I mean, BioShock is the critical darling, and I think many people believe it. It didn't sell as well as I think our enthusiasm would have indicated. I think that there's a chance, though, with Infinite that they can get over that hump. I think they won us over with Infinite last year as the press. Now they got to figure out how do you reach that wider audience that this rather remarkable, unique, and for all intents and purposes, in my mind, an original IP. Is coming out this year and get people excited about it.
Yep.
I think they're making a mistake with that game, in all honesty. They're not showing enough of the game. I mean, we get user stats on game trailers. We can see what people are interested in. And truth be told, for as excited as people like us are about that game, the users are not as excited about it. And I think they lost a lot of momentum. I felt like every time we see it, we're like, oh, we saw this awesome thing, and now you guys will have to wait a month and a half for us to put it out. And there just hasn't been that steady promotion of the game, and I feel like it's kind of getting lost in the dust a little bit.
But that was true with Red Dead Redemption, and they built up at the end. And
That's Rockstar,
Well, and the thing is, a lot of these games are so story-driven. I feel like they're so protective, and we run into this all the time about spoilers and not wanting to show much of a game. And then you're right; it's like, how do you convince the gamers that this is something they want to see? And I mean, BioShock has those tears. I mean, there's so much that I think they do in that game, and I'm sure there's tons of stuff they haven't talked about. But you're right; I think they need to have a big E3, obviously, to get on the roadmap with folks.
I think their success last year may have worked against them because it brought a lot of attention when they weren't in that marketing cycle to want to continually sort of feed the beast.
Right.
I think Shane has a point. I think, though, that there's something so unique about this game that once they re-engage with the audience, that may become much less of an issue.
Inspired.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other problem too is that we all got to see it, and the users didn't get to see it for a long time. But we were allowed to kind of talk about it. So we all came out of there, and it's winning like our Best of Show awards and everyone's Best of E3 awards. It's like we are almost a little bit guilty of hyping it up so much that when everybody finally got to see what we saw, they're inevitably going to be let down. And so I think that happened a lot. There was like that week or 2 week period after we all saw it, and we're like, man, it looks amazing. We gave it all these awards, and then people see the demo and they're like, really? This is what you guys were all raving about? I feel like no matter how awesome
It was pretty good, though.
Oh, it was mind-blowing. But I think we set them up so that it could never hit their expectations for the game.
These are the same guys who didn't like the ending to Mass Effect 3.
Right.
We're very picky, our readers. All right, well, when we come back, we'll talk more about third-party games at E3.